As the month of October began, the Polish campaign was nearing its conclusion. Both Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union had nearly completed their conquest and division of Poland, as agreed in the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. By this point, the Polish army had been significantly diminished, with most major cities under enemy control. However, resistance remained in some isolated pockets, one of which was the Hel Peninsula, a small yet strategically vital point along Poland's Baltic coast. October 2, 1939, marked the fall of this last organized Polish defensive position, ending the Battle of Hel and symbolizing the close of the initial phase of World War II. Military events. The Battle of Hel concludes. The Battle of Hel had been ongoing since the first day of the war on September 1, 1939. The Hel Peninsula, located on the northern coast of Poland, housed fortified Polish defensive positions that became a focal point of resistance after other coastal strongholds had fallen. Approximately 2,800 Polish soldiers under the command of Rear Admiral Władimir Steyr defended the narrow strip of land for more than a month against overwhelming German forces. On October 2nd, after enduring weeks of bombardment and suffering from dwindling supplies and low morale, the Polish forces on Hel surrendered. The Germans had utilized a combination of air raids, naval bombardments, and a land blockade to gradually weaken the defenders. Despite their valor, the Polish forces at Hel recognized that further resistance would lead only to more casualties with no hope of victory. The formal surrender marked one of the final blows to organized Polish military efforts in the war. The Hel Peninsula was one of the last parts of Poland to fall, and its defense had been notable for the duration and resilience of its defenders despite being isolated from any potential reinforcements. Diplomatic and geopolitical context. By October 2nd, the diplomatic landscape had shifted dramatically. Poland, despite the guarantees of military support from Britain and France, had been left to face its invaders alone. The German-Soviet invasion had effectively partitioned the country, with the two occupiers now working to solidify their control. Germany was focused on securing Western Poland, while the Soviet Union continued to consolidate power in the East. In terms of broader international politics, the Western Allies, Britain and France, had declared war on Germany following its invasion of Poland on September 3rd. However, their military response remained limited. As France's Saar offensive had already stalled, Allied action was reduced to aerial leaflet drops and defensive posturing along the Maginot Line. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union's role in the occupation of Poland created further tensions but did not yet bring it into open conflict with the Western powers. International reaction and media coverage. The surrender of Hel was covered by both Polish and international press, though by this point, much of the world's attention had turned to the broader strategic implications of the Nazi-Soviet partition of Poland. British and French newspapers expressed growing frustration with their government's inaction during the fall of Poland. The Times of London ran critical pieces questioning the effectiveness of Allied diplomacy, while also highlighting the human toll of the war on Polish civilians. In Germany, state-controlled media celebrated the fall of Hel as a significant military victory, framing it as a decisive step in bringing order to Eastern Europe. German propaganda emphasized the efficiency of the Wehrmacht and the inevitability of Poland's collapse under the new order being imposed by the Axis powers. In the United States, which was still maintaining a policy of neutrality, newspapers such as the New York Times reported extensively on the final military engagements in Poland. American public opinion, though still largely isolationist, began to take notice of the human rights violations occurring under both Nazi and Soviet occupations. Stories of deportations, mass arrests, and executions in both the German and Soviet zones of Poland circulated widely, raising questions about the long-term consequences of the invasion. Projections. Looking to the future. With the fall of Hel, the last organized Polish resistance on the Baltic coast was extinguished. This marked the closing stages of the German and Soviet conquest of Poland, which would be completed just a few days later with the Battle of Kock. The complete annexation of Poland by both occupiers would set the stage for one of the war's most brutal occupation regimes, with millions of Poles subjected to forced labor, imprisonment, and extermination over the coming years. For the Western Allies, the events of October 2nd highlighted the inadequacies of their strategy thus far. The so-called phony war, a period of minimal military activity on the Western Front, continued, but there was growing recognition in Britain and France that more decisive action would be required to confront the Axis powers effectively. Looking forward, the fall of Poland would only intensify the war, as Hitler's ambitions turned westward. With Poland out of the picture, the stage was set for future campaigns, notably the invasions of Denmark, Norway, and the Low Countries in 1940. For Poland, though the country was now occupied, its government in exile and the Polish resistance would continue to play a significant role throughout the war, maintaining the fight for freedom until the very end. As October continued, the world braced for further escalation, with uncertainty hanging over Europe and beyond.